So they went from number 48 in the world in 2020 to number 15 in 2021, and so many other remarkable things that have and continue to take place. I want to welcome Katrina and Neil to the Cheplak Live podcast. Thanks so much, you guys, for taking the time with me today.
Thanks, John. We're happy to be here.
Thank you, John.
Good. And now, so let's go to the personal side of it, because I think this is so important. You know, we talk about the numbers and we look at the business. I want to go into the personal life that you guys have. You know, talk about your family and talk about all those commitments, and then when we break down the business and what you guys are able to accomplish, tell us about your family first.
Yeah. So we're married. We've been married for 15 years, been together. We actually were together before we were realtors, and then we got married. But we now have 3 kids. They're 8, 11, and 14-year-old kids. We're very much involved in their activities. Our children are into volleyball. And so we're very much highly involved, and also we're highly involved in our community. Our kids are very, very much involved in the church as well. And so together our commitment is to our community and our church, and we volunteer as well. I personally volunteer for, and I help run our church preschool program, administrating that, and also helping in other things that involve just being more active in the community.
So with all those things, all those moving parts, you guys ended up number 15 in the world. And let's go back to the beginning on the business side of it, and then we'll slowly but surely bring ourselves forward to where we're at right now. At what point did you guys decide, you're both in real estate, how long ago did you guys decide, you know something, we're going to build something beyond just us selling real estate?
Well, we tried this a long time ago. It was that typical, like, okay, we were doing so well. This was back in 2009. We started in real estate I personally started in 2004. Neil started in 2005. And, you know, we worked together, and then 2008 came. It's fine. We survived that. 2009 came, and then we're like, well, we're doing pretty good. Let's build a team. Let's hire more people without any structure. Just like we thought, hey, well, let's just hire people. We already have an assistant at that time. So that didn't really go well. That went as long as a year. It went as far as a year. I mean, that kind of like, okay, we'll put that on the side. We don't have enough for ourselves to give to someone else. We reattempted that again about 2014, 2015. We thought, okay, now we have a structure. We had more support staff. At that time, we had 4 support staff, plus the 2 of us. We hired 2 more realtors to join us, and that didn't work again. We weren't prepared. The first time we did it, we got overzealous. We thought we were all that. But the second time, we thought we had it all ready, but we didn't really have the right framework. We didn't have, we're not ready. We're still not ready. But then again, we wouldn't have known until we tried. So that didn't work.
I guess we didn't have the foundation. We didn't have the foundation in place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So when did you guys kick in gear again and just say, okay, we're going for it now? And certainly there's bumps along the road that we'll talk about, but when did you guys jump back in it again and go for it and never look back?
2017. Yeah. 2017 is when we did. Now this one, we hired a different coach. We have support staff. And then we hired 3 realtors to join our team. Not all at the same time, but gradually. We were happy. We were able to actually do it. That was, it happened for 2 years. We were doing so well. We hit the number 1 in our real estate board. So for 5 real estate licenses producing. I think we did about 200 for 5. And we then thought, okay, that's good. We're doing so well. Number 1 in the real estate board. And then we met you. Then we met you. And that was
you guys were that small then?
We were that small. Yeah. 5 realtors in the team when we met you.
And we thought that was a lot.
We thought that was a lot of people. And
was that 19 or 18?
We met in 2019.
19. Okay. All right.
Built the team in 17.
We built the team. Yeah.
Gradually, very slowly. So you can tell probably 1 or 2 a year, or one a year.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So talk about the next 12 months then. What did that look like? What was your focus? Talk about the people that you hired along the way from a staffing perspective, the lessons learned in all of that, and the trajectory of your business.
Well, from that point, we were still both producing. Neil and I were still both all hands on deck, working, I don't know how many hours. And it's a question of how many hours were we not working, right? We were working a lot, but it was working really well. We had 5 support staff at that time. We had our transaction coordinator, field coordinator, and a marketing lady, and then a couple other people who are supporting them. So we just kept going. We just kept doing what we thought were the right things to do. And then when we met you in 2019, it's like we were these big fish in a small pond and then thrown into this huge pond, and we were this really small fish. And we didn't realize how much more there is out there. We didn't see that, wow, there's just so much that we didn't know. And we thought, oh, we're successful. We're doing 200 deals, 5 realtors working like there's no tomorrow. And the trajectory is from 5 realtors, we grew to 12. Mm-hmm. And then we grew. Now, fast forward to today, we have 32. Okay, he just hired another one. So 32.
Good.
32 realtors. So Neil went out of production. And then we hired more support staff as we were not able to carry the load. We had to restructure a few things. We implemented a lot of the things that we learned from just being surrounded by the people you surrounded us with. Just by listening to what everyone was doing and just implementing. We went on to full-on coaching with you and attended the mastermind and just absorbed. And Neil just implemented. So between me and Neil, I've always been the ideas and he's always been the implementer. And so we followed the EOS system. And what else can I say about that? I mean, I know I talk a lot, but he does the implementation. So.
Well, no, that's really good. It's a great backfill, Katrina. Thank you. And so Neil, when you stepped out of production, would you say that your role was hybrid? I mean, you're like an operations manager and the sales manager with some input on the sales management side, because Katrina was still out there killing it in real estate. What did your work look like? I wanted to say your day, but they were 24/7. So what did your work look like when you jumped into an employee operator role and out of sales?
I don't know. It looked crazy. Still looks crazy. Operations, taking care of the operations, making sure things are in place, training, sales manager, the whole 9 yards. Just pretty much whatever Katrina. Well, we collaborate to what we want to do and put into place, but it comes down to the day as to what Katrina wanted to implement, and just heads down, just go and do it. With your support and your guidance, with the people that you surrounded us with, is more, I always had that word calculated risk, but it was different. It was completely different. It's, how do we call it now? It's more of a calculated choice. Yeah. So knowing that things worked in other teams and people that we surrounded ourselves with, it was more of faith and just go ahead and just do it and implement it and see if it works. But yeah, just more taking the responsibility of team members. And that was something that was very fearful, was someone leaving their 9-to-5 job, making great income, and being in a position where we're going to be educating them, coaching them, and mentoring them. It's like, oh my goodness, they're going to leave their 9-to-5 job, very secure job, and they're going to put their trust into us. And that was the I guess the difficult time or thought process for us, for me, for Katrina and I, to help someone to get out of government jobs to come and join us and trust the system. So
you look at the agents that you guys brought on, looking back to present, maybe it's changed the dynamic of it. Has it been primarily brand new? Was it primarily all brand new at the beginning and then has evolved to experience? Talk about the target, the demographic of who has joined you and over the years of the recruiting as we work together.
Well, when we first did it, we just asked one of Neil's friends who has a license, another realtor in a couple other realtors in our office who we thought, hey, this would be a good fit. When we started working with you, we became more focused. We became more intentional about what we're doing, because prior to that, it's like all over the place. It's just a group of licensed realtors joining together. We have now a lot of our demographic right now is majority younger people. Originally, it's mostly people there were only a handful of us, so there's not many of us, but we just attracted other realtors within who already knows of us. And now we're noticing we are attracting, and we were discussing this yesterday, we're attracting young people. Look at the room, it's like young. They're like, majority of them are under 30. And we thought that we never really saw it from a position of, wow, this is actually an opportunity. Brand new realtors, teaching them from scratch. And of course, there's pros and cons, because sometimes you want to just you do not appreciate that the grass is not greener on the other side. But somehow the culture we created I had goosebumps yesterday when I saw all of them, and it's just seeing how much they've grown. So just having that I don't know. I mean, somehow we attracted younger people, and it's just hiring one person. It started from hiring one. He was 22 when we hired him. And we basically helped him grow. And we thought he was super young until we hired a 19-year-old and then another 20-year-old. So it just evolved, because I think the other people in their generation saw the success that they have, and also who they became, and it attracted other young people. And we're very happy about it. Yes, there's challenges. Of course, we still look at other realtors. We are more intentional as well about hiring people who's been in the business. It's a good mix. It's a good combination. And we built the system so then it will be attractive to both. And we have a different approach in both. Well, Neil has a different approach in onboarding both.
Really good. So talk about this. You had that established group of people, and you look at going from 5 to 32 today, right? I'll expect 35 by our coaching call next week, Neil. But anyways, I digress.
Working on it.
Good. Looking at the 5 to 32, you had this great group of people that were really productive. And as you started bringing other people on, how did the OGs feel? Were they just, oh, great, bring people on, this is wonderful? Or was there some positioning? Was there some discomfort? Was there some attrition? Talk about the progression from the 5 to 32, and more from the standpoint of the interaction of those people and how the culture has evolved and changed.
You want to say something? You say.
That's a tough one.
Neil had to deal with it.
Well, I guess that was a tough one. As we evolved, as much as we share the vision, I guess some people get short-minded or narrow-minded and look at it as a more of a threat of opportunities that would come their way. But in reality, there were more opportunities as we grew, our footprint increased in the marketplace and got more opportunities. But there are certain individuals that felt their opportunities were slowly drifting away. But the culture as we grew, where we wanted a positive and healthy environment, but the OGs, I would say half of them remain consistent, and half of them decide to create their own clique within our own team. So they started a division within our team, and unfortunately, those people who created those division were dear friends of mine, of Katrina. I think they're really good friends of mine, and we had to make a decision. Do we
and this too, Neil, is really important, for those listening and or watching, is that, and you're on a growth trajectory, and you don't have this big body of people, right? Where that, listen, we don't want to lose anyone, but like the smaller we are losing people, I mean, they're not only friends, and you guys are just caring people anyways. I mean, the thing that frustrates you the most is you want to impact people's lives, but these were productive people too.
Yeah, they're very productive. I mean, the challenge was also for us is that we always take too much ownership on everything that happens. Like, it comes back to us, like, why are they acting the way they are? It's because of us. We tolerate it. We do this. So because they've been with us for a while, and they're we have a good relationship, and also, of course, implementing the systems, they were in the top 5 consistently. They were in the top 5 in our team all the time. And to be able to say, yes, I appreciate that you're doing the production, but the way things are, that's not how we see ourselves. And that's not what's this called? The culture.
The culture. But I think before we're able to make a move, because we were small and didn't have many people around us, we became hostage to make a move. We're scared of losing production. Who's going to take care of the people, of our clients? Who's going to support us? But because we didn't have that many people, where we thought, John, 5, 8 people was good enough for our team, we held ourselves hostage. And it took, I don't know for Katrina, but it took me a while to really understand the whole recruitment. Because if we don't recruit, we become our own hostage. And John, I mean, we've had this conversation for how many months? Many months.
Actually,
it's years now, Neil. It's
years. Maybe, oh my goodness, like November of last year, when we wanted to make a move, and we were scared, or at least I was scared to make that decision for 2 reasons: like, who's going to take on the workload, and who's going to help and continue to do the production that they're doing. And of course, the friendship there. But because we kept on hiring new members and people hiring to the culture that we can trust on them to do the way that we do, how we run their process and run a team, it allowed us to be in a position to make a move.
Yeah, but to add to what you're saying, is not necessarily hiring to the culture. It's just we needed to hire the right people. We had a good understanding of who we want, who the people are, and then they evolve within the culture, because the culture that we had at that time was somewhat toxic, because there was this energy, the negativity that was going around. There's some bitterness. There's some, like, it's some, like, we're original, we're trying to help, yet we're the one, it's not being done the way I want to get it done. And so, the entitlement, the sense of entitlement, because A, they've been with us for a long time, and B, it's been, they're more senior, and they're producing, right? And it's just, to us, it came to a point that we've noticed the division in our team. So the reality is the culture is like it was changing, and we had to take it back, and we had to make sure that you know what? Yes, we appreciate that the production is there, and it's something that, it's hard to let go. Yet is this what's holding us back to growing even more? And
let's go underneath this one, real important, because the one thing that you guys, you invest as much as anyone I've ever worked in the science part of the business, and interacting with people who I think have really become mentors of you. I think you and Justin have a great relationship. Someone you look up to, and Tom Davis. People within his organizations how do you do this? How do you do that? All super critical. Whether it's the operations, it's the ISA, it's the sales manager, recruiting, the science. But I think this is the sticking point for most people, and they don't realize it. And why they don't experience, you look at this growth that has taken place for you guys from number 48 to 15. People can say, well, the market's great. Okay, well, what happened to the other 33 people that you passed up? I mean, with all due respect. Mm-hmm. But I think what I want you guys to talk about is, when you hear something in your organization, do you guys just sit around and tiptoe around it, or do you move towards it quickly? Talk about that.
We learned to move towards, at first we were tiptoeing around it just because we're nice people. But we learned to just go straight, go get at it right away. The sooner, we got to nip it in the bud, right? Things that we hear, we got to nip it in the bud. Yes, sometimes it's like, oh, that didn't work. Some things that we decide on and implement, and then we hear grumblings, and then we don't want to have a knee-jerk reaction, because sometimes we know it needs to be, people just need to accept it, and not everybody will really see what we're trying to do. We do our best to explain, but we go straight at it in a way that, hey, this is what it is. We address it right away. We do. And we learned this from other teams that you coach. We learned this from you, is just address it head on.
What happens? So and this is good for people to know too, because how scary is it? And we've worked together, and you've had to make some of those decisions. I mean, it's scary, right? But tell people what you have found. Here we are. I mean, the numbers don't lie. 200 to what did you guys hit? What was your number last year? 2021
transaction? 501.
Yeah. Okay. 501. Right. And you've continued to grow. Okay. And the number of agents has not gone backwards, it's gone up. And so obviously those decisions along the way were good decisions. They allowed growth. But talk specifically about what you would hear, with all due respect to anyone that you've let go. I mean, the one thing that you've always said is you've got parted ways with people, great people, wish them the best. But what have you found out after you've made those moves inside your organization? Did you find out there was even more that you didn't know? Did you find out also too that, with all due respect, because we're not a fit for everyone, that it actually took the lid off the organization, or did it paralyze and make people afraid, and you had to dig out of that? Talk about the aftermath, if you would, after letting people go.
Well, when we let those two top team members go, there was anxiety amongst team members. Anxiety as to what the heck's going on. Like, am I safe? Because if these are top producing people, am I going to be safe? But what we did the next day, I think, we went to go.
We had a meeting
review with you. But before that meeting, we called for everyone to come in a little bit earlier, and we addressed everyone straight on. That was uncomfortable.
Super uncomfortable. So yes, it was. There's a lot. It's like the air in the room was so thick. It's like very uncomfortable. Everyone was scared, in a way. But there are some people who are like, wow, I see why. I see it. So there's some people who are very much involved as well. I see it. I appreciate your decision. I didn't see it coming, yet I understand why you had to do it. And then, of course, yes, a lot of things that there was more to it than what we thought there was. And then it just took a little bit of like, people kind of feeling like, okay, I'm okay. It's just, we had to hold everyone's hands and say, we are doing this for the sake of the team. We're doing this because we want to make sure that everyone is in here for the right reasons, and we are all going to grow together. And it's not just for us, it was also for them. They were not happy.
But before knowing that people weren't happy though, what two members approached us afterward was, it was like a firing squad, because we opened up, me and Katrina were in front of a firing squad. People were just hammering us with questions. And that was the time we were vulnerable, like, oh my goodness, this is so uncomfortable. But we spoke with our heart, we spoke with the truth as to why we let these people go. Because people who are friends, they develop a lot of friendships within that team. So you can imagine how they felt and how disappointed. There were some, I would say half the room or a quarter of the room were very disappointed about the news. But we open up the room for any questions, and it was almost like a firing squad. As one of the two team members said, it was like a firing squad. Thank you for answering it genuinely and just off of your heart and everything. But afterwards, now we're going to segue into you, is that it opened up further conversations, whether it's individual or 2 to 3 people at a time, small group conversation with us after the fact or after the event. And what Katrina was going to say is that we didn't realize there was more stuff underneath it all
that had been happening. You moved towards what you knew, but then typically when we let people go, others come forward and say, well, hey, there were some other things happening too, right?
Yeah. And
so watch this. In the long run, let's go to the science, the math part of it. So ultimately, sure, you had these numbers of production that these top agents are doing, but actually they're impacting the productivity of other people in the environment. Fair enough?
Fair enough. The reality is we didn't realize that there were several of them who actually were going to quit.
They came up to us and said, you know what, I was thinking about.
We are on the way out, because
and they told you that after you made the decision, right?
Yeah.
After we didn't know until after.
And it was so surprising with the people who approached us and told us I was thinking, and they did it separately. I was thinking of quitting, because if these guys are the OGs and they've been working with you guys for that long, I can't believe, I guess this is the culture and they're allowing it. What was so surprising and shockingly is like they said, it's being allowed. And I'm like, oh my goodness. No,
we've heard that before.
We tolerated it. And
we teach and train people how to behave.
Exactly.
Right?
That's what we tolerate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, and I think let's go even back further, you guys. And so again, put a cherry on top of it. You've had people step up not only in their activity, but then their contribution, volunteering and sharing their voice now more openly in meeting environments. We've talked about that we're great people, but now they're contributing more, aren't they?
Huge contribution and more people are contributing, and you can sense the vibe. It's just so different. It comes from a position of gratitude. It comes from a position of just being there for each other, and no one's worried about what someone would say about what someone did.
Yeah. So what I want to point out for those watching or listening is Openness. I mean, I happen to be in their private Facebook group for their team. And immediately, one of the strongest strategies I'll share with everyone is when something changes, whether it's an agent leaving or something, you go right to video with dignity and respect. And I watched the video that they handled with dignity and respect because, although they had to do some nurturing on the back side of it, it wasn't damage control. There's a difference between nurture and damage control. Damage control is you let them go, and then every other day someone new is leaving. It's that being out in front in the nurture process. So let's even go back. Oh my goodness. One question real quickly for everyone is, what percentage of the business right now that the agents are closing is provided by the team, and what percentage of the business are the agents generating their own from sphere of influence and maybe prospecting they're doing?
I would say we're in about the 70-30. The team provides 70% of the business. The 30 is they bring. For the most part, we teach them, we encourage them to bring their own business. At the end, it's of course with marketing, everything we're doing. We have the ISA department, and then the past clients for us, building that community, the foundation of the repeat and referral business. It's majority team provided business.
Good. So with that, then what you have is, you look at your advertising, whether it's radio, online leads, etc. Then you've got to look at, okay, great, I'm funneling these leads down. I've got to hold the standard, right, to our following our sales process, our lead follow-up process. I think it was a year ago, November, and I've spoke before at that casino. I think you guys did the in Richmond. Correct me if I'm right or wrong or on this, but we all gathered. I zoomed in, I think it was November of 20, because you're growing, your brand is out there big time because you're huge video marketers, and now you've got this business coming in, but you've got to get the conversions and the lead follow-up. Talk about that and share with people how you moved to, you made the choice around, okay, you know what? These are the expectations in the CRM. The expectations were there, but now we're going to hold you accountable. Talk about where adoption and usage was. You remember that meeting where we did the go to the board at the very end? I asked the rhetorical question in front of everyone. So are you 100% committed to adoption of data entry of everything? Talk about, that was another step. And I have this conversation a lot with people where that's scary. Because, okay, we have not been managing that as closely. And we see it, but we haven't held people to that at a high level. Talk about what was it outside of the dollars and cents of it, where you just says, okay, managing our emotions, saying, we're going to do this. It's kind of scary to doing it. And what has happened on the other end of that? What was your adoption, would you guys say, a follow-up boss before that meeting of your agents?
Our adoption rate before that meeting, I would love to say 30-40% adoption rate. People,
that's including our usage.
And that's heavily on that.
Okay, so then it was 5. No.
Very, very small. Like, it was like pulling teeth. It's just hard. They do it, but they don't. And especially when we implemented the usage of the call, the dialer. And so, they're like, well, but there's so much, but people know my phone number and this and that, and it's not working on my phone, all that excuses. And it was really tough to get them to, engage. And it came down to, they had to commit. They had to, say, I'm going to do this. They see, though, they realize that a lot of the challenges that they are facing is because they were refusing to use, or subconsciously, or, they were refusing to use follow-up boss. They were refusing to follow through the new implementing that, not necessarily new, because we've been using follow-up boss, but it's just how we were using it was not the same way that they were used to. So just implementation, and it took a lot of tweaking as well for us, and it had to be done right at the onboarding, right? And it's just letting them understand. The challenge was because people are stuck to their own ways, right? And they realized when we started showing them the difference between someone who's using it to someone who's refusing to use it,
Right.
is when that's when that's what's the aha moment for them. They saw that.
Because I think you hit home, you had hit the message home there that day for the adoption was, we cannot improve what we don't measure. And that was the huge thing. And that was, even for myself, that was an aha moment. It's like, yeah, we can track our own stuff. Me and Katrina, we can track our own stuff. But as leaders, how can we support and help you or help them be better if we don't track things? And tracking the number of calls, emails, text messages was huge, until they can realize that in order for us to improve their production or improve, we need to measure. And just having the overall, I think you did a survey about what does it take in the teams that you coach, is how many emails, calls, and text messages is on average for a person to close one deal in an organization. Having that structure and presenting that over to the team, that was I understand that. It's also letting them understand tracking, which allows us to improve from there. And the funny thing is, when we did our numbers last month or last year, the number relatively in that ballpark.
Really?
So
the science works, right?
And, yeah.
Well, but and here's the thing, though, too. If we look at, because we're looking, holy smokes, that's 18 months ago, roughly, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So that's about the time too where I want people to see this. You can run towards your standards all day long, but pick your battles is what I would say, because you ran towards it because A, it's responsible, but B, it's this, is that a calculated risk? No, it was a calculated decision, but you could make it because you understood recruiting. See, most people, they don't have a standards issue. They have a recruiting issue because they're afraid if they hold people to standards, they'll lose and they won't have enough people. And so again, it was that power of you staying on point with that. Talk about the how would you rate it's a constant evolution. You went from where you were with database usage. How would you rate the agents today and their usage of follow-up boss, using the dialer and reporting all their activity?
They use, everybody uses it now. It's like
everyone uses it. Of course, you have your odd ones that they go through WhatsApp and stuff like that, side messaging, but I would say 95% adoption.
Yeah,
it's very, very high. And I mean, now because we introduced the ISA department division, now what we tell everyone is who we will assign people as to who we feel fit. So including metrics. If we know that you're using follow-up boss and you're doing your reach outs, then we know that you can take care of these leads. But if you're not doing your reach outs, then the ISAs have the right to decide where it goes. So it's more, and that's one of the adoption, and people are willing to do the work so then they can get, I guess.
I mean, we tried different things to make it work. I mean, we tried, leaderboards, we tried contests, we tried, scaring them, we tried so many different things. At the end, it's them internally realizing that it is good for their business. It is.
Well, I think the big thing that you guys have demonstrated, though, too, and that's where it comes back to your commitment to recruiting and development, is it takes the ultimate voice is one or two of these young people that you've brought up. And, the first thing is, why is he getting all the leads? What do you mean getting all the leads? Well, they just joined and they're still, no, let's open up their follow-up boss.
Mm-hmm.
The most powerful voice is you can just go back and, here you go. This is where the numbers are. I mean, really, really simple. So as you grew, then you went through a process that in the long run has worked out beautifully for everyone. And that was maybe not what we thought, but it worked out really well. Then you decided to hire a sales manager, right? At what point did you hire a sales manager? And take us through that, because I think it's important for people to see that, there's this risk of taking someone off the sales floor, and then whether it works out for them or us, and then what the backside looks like. Give us that story, because I think it's a pretty remarkable story in taking that revenue off the sales floor, and whether or not it works out and what it can look like on the back end.
We decided to have a sales manager because that's just, with our growth, between me and Neil, we can only juggle so much. And we decided to hire a sales manager 2021. We gave her the news. We asked one of our, she's doing really well. She was very, very strong personality. She implemented the system. She followed the process. She embraced the workflow, and we thought, this person did it. Maybe we can, and she's doing well. The challenge at that time too is it took us several months before we really decided to go full on hiring a sales manager, and then to decide to take someone off production to be a sales manager. We tried a different route and tried hiring outside. That kind of didn't work. We went and offered this position to someone in our team who's doing well, and she accepted it. She was very eager and hungry and driven to want to do it. There's also rumblings, just someone getting that position felt like, well, why not me? She's not one of the OG. So, but at the end also, they wouldn't take it because it's giving up the production, which is more lucrative. At the end, we did have her in the role for a year. Yeah. And then we reviewed it. Of course, she helped us she helped Neil have more space to build the system, make it even better. It's already built, but we needed to work on it more, because the system we had was good for possibly a 15 realtor team, but to scale, we needed to step back, slow down, have someone else take care of some of these things like onboarding, showing the ropes to the new realtors, and teaching them. But that was 1 year. She did it for 1 year. We reviewed it, and both her and us felt that her sweet spot is actually really in sales herself. Like, she can make more impact by being in sales herself rather than doing the sales manager role. She did her best. She struggled, and we could see that it's not something that she's in. After a year, it's not. She wasn't as happy as she was. So, I mean, she was happy in a way, and she's always been a grateful person. But we could see that she's not in her sweet spot. So just acknowledging that and accepting that we may have built the box for her instead of having the right seat and the right person together.
Yeah. And so let's talk about the backside of it. Both of you, and I think this is important, folks, as you listen and watch this, is the importance of how you move through the relationships when things don't work out. And because a lot of times it can be very uncomfortable, and I think unconsciously people can create tension to unconsciously make it move apart, and it will become a drama, versus we moved towards it respectfully. And she's with the team. And how's her business been since she moved from sales manager back to the sales floor?
She's doing so well. She's thriving. Yeah. She's very much consistent in the growth. She got back in, she's jumped in right away, and she's doing better than what she thought she could do. When she set her goal, and we discussed this, okay, you're going back into the field. This is, where do you see yourself? In a few months? And she gave us a number, and I thought that was is that what she wanted? And she did better than what she thought she could.
But then that was scary too, having facing that conversation, because how do you move someone from leadership and putting them back into sales? In our minds, oh my goodness, it was going to be a degrading thing, and may not be with the team anymore. Who knows? And that was boiling in our minds, but approaching it and having a conversation, just facing it head on, going through the conversation immediately. What the sweet spot? What do they want best? At the end of the day, what's the best, not only for them, but what's the best for the team itself? And she acknowledged that it would be best for her if she wanted to go back into the
She
sales.
actually wanted it.
She wanted to go back into the sales. I guess also it was hard for her to approach us to let us know that, but without having that conversation.
It's right like that.
Yeah, she was relieved. She was relieved. Yeah.
And yeah, she's not part of leadership, but in a way, she is like a leadership person there who's leading it by doing, implementing, and being a leader by action.
Yeah.
So that helped significantly when she went back into the sales.
Oh, and again, the energy that she brought with that change. She's so happy that it like vibrated, and she brought that eagerness back into the previous role. And at the end, it's just a title, right? Like being in the leadership, we explain this. It's not like an ego thing. It's being in leadership is more work. It's we approach leadership as like, we do it. We're servant leaders. We help them. We're here to support our team members. We all work together. So it wasn't a demotion, as in the back of our minds would have been probably how she would take it. But it became more of it. There was a mutual decision. Like when we had a meeting, she had it in her mind already. She already knew she would like to go back into sales. And we wanted just to see where the conversation would go.
But what's crazy about it, just thinking about that is now she's back, she's in the sales role. Immediately, she's still contributing. She's still helping team members. Even though she's no longer a sales manager, she's willing to take people underneath her wing and contribute to the team and to the individuals, which led to other team members wanting to contribute and help other team members. So that was, voluntarily, it helped the culture that way.
Well, that's a tribute to you, because you're moving someone from that space, and it can be sensitive feelings and how it looks. We all, don't worry about what people think, but we all worry what people think. It's just, it's embedded in us. And I think it's a great polarity, but I think it's a tribute to you guys. Just, I think, if there's one theme that people can get in listening and watching this is, you guys move to the truth. It's something I was taught a long time ago, the relentless pursuit of the truth. Move towards the truth with dignity. A couple other pieces I want to cover, and then let you guys get to your day, which I'm so gracious that you took the time, and I know many people watching and listening will appreciate that. Where's your market at right now? This is June 11th. Where's the market at year to date? Where are you guys at year to date? Talk about that.
Our market is down
55%.
Yeah.
And sorry.
How are you guys tracking?
We're tracking to be. We're actually ahead.
We've caught up, and we're at year over year. We're at the same level.
So we didn't lose.
You're not losing ground. And here's the remarkable thing I want people to see is do not accept that, ladies and gentlemen. Like, if what's really concerning, your business is not measured when things are good. Right now, people are getting measured. Like, if it's going down 10 and you go down 10, it goes 20 and it goes down, that's a scary prospect. Now, certainly Neil and Katrina are growth-based, but when something's going down and you're winning, you're ahead of last year, you're beating the market by 60%. I mean, that's winning. What has been the key to that? Because I'm sure there's, if the market's down, you've got to manage the agents and their emotions and things. What's been the key to you guys staying ahead of the marketplace?
Lots of things. I mean, making those tough decisions, definitely huge factor. And also making sure that the mindset within the team stays positive and excited. It's hard when it's crazy out there, but creating this environment of just being hungry and continuing to grow the team, having the people, having more people in the team, because then together there's more of us, then we can conquer more. And then of course the sales velocity training is helping our team a lot. Huge. It's having all of those things that we put into play, which prepared us to now, which we're super excited, because this is when we shine. And it's also bringing that energy in the team that this is such an exciting time, because we're not just going to, you know, we earned the business, we've earned it, and we don't just get it by fluke, right? It's all here, and it's more satisfying for them to be able to support, help a family. So having more of us, there's more people in the team. Recruitment, of course, is huge for us. We can't even, right now we have so many different things that's coming in, and people are seeing the value that we bring to the marketplace, that we're getting more phone calls. We have more opportunities that's coming, because it's not a market that's easy, right? The market needs someone who's more skilled, who has the capacity, the resources, the experience, and we bring that to the table. And having the people in our team to do that, we're attracting more clients, more consumers calling us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Neil's getting more phone calls from more realtors wanting to join our team. So I think that's why we are where we are right now, and we're actually wanting to use this opportunity to gain more market share.
And we continue to educate the team members. Like, I mean, we have the accountability meetings that we're still hosting and running. Yes, it takes time to schedule. Doing accountability meetings, doing the training, role playing. Now we're implementing all these things to keep everyone top of top of their game. And what we've transitioned from doing Zoom into in-person training, and that has helped. I guess, people seeing one another. I think that helped us move a little forward as well.
Yeah, we provide the training in person, and people are more engaged, right, when it's in person. So doing that, and when people feel the excitement within the room, they get that feeling of, I'm in the right room, I'm excited. They make the phone calls, they hear each other. It becomes more of a fun thing.
Yeah, really good. Well, let's do this. I want to, we started at a personal level, learning about family, your commitment to that part of life, and let's end on a personal level. I think it's important for people as you look at building a business and showing up your best in your family, and talk about fitness and nutrition and all those things over the last couple of years, and when you made a commitment to that and how important you feel that is. Talk about that.
Neil, Neil had a huge transformation. Yeah, I mean, what happened over the years is, in real estate, it's just so easy to be caught up in working. We get addicted to work, and then we get, eating is something that we just, it's a second thought. Like, whatever, we eat at the restaurants, we eat, we drink alcohol, we do that. Like, I mean, to us, we weren't excessive drinkers, but it's also something that was part of our lifestyle. A glass of wine here, a glass of champagne. Last year, well, for me, a couple of years ago, and then last year, Neil made a decision that we're changing our lifestyle, because we were gaining weight. We were gaining so much weight, and I mean, to a point that I had a medical, and I told the nurse that her scale is wrong. It's broken, because I'm not that heavy. And that was an eye opener, because, we were slowly getting heavier and heavier, even though we were working out. It's more, we decided to change our lifestyle, and just thought, number one, we want to be more productive, because we only have 24 hours in a day. And if we spend some time eating bad food, having to recover from, eating bad food, and also even though it's not a lot, but the effects of alcohol is also affecting our productivity, we both made the decision that it's time. I mean, that's my approach. Like, Neil has a major transformation. Neil lost 43 pounds now, like 43 pounds in less than, like, in 4 months, really, because you're now just maintaining it. And I lost 20 pounds. So, I mean, over the last.
And your people, here's a piece, your people saw it too and see it, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Yes. And we became more, it's like we're more clear. Like, it's not the weight that we lost, it's just the lifestyle that we embrace. It's just the discipline. We're more, it's like we're leaner, we're more focused. And that gets, it's not just the physical, it's like that goes back to the business, that goes back to work. And we're more productive.
That's awesome. Well, you guys, I appreciate you, honor you, like you mentioned with the people that have been with you for a while, and we've been together for a while. I appreciate the friendship. And, the neat thing is, as you guys rise up, many people that you look up to now, others are looking up to you, and you're impacting lives. And I say this, let's just keep going on impacting lives. Thank you so much.
Thank you for how you've impacted our lives.
Thanks, you guys. I appreciate you.
Thanks.